You read about it too.
Yeah, I mean, I read about it, but I don't know.
So you don't trust anything either, and you work for the New York Times.
Well,
Bill Maher brought on this woke idiot Adam Schiff onto his show Real Time with Bill Maher and absolutely annihilated him whenever he was talking about a couple of topics that a lot of woke idiots are completely wrong on. Let's get into this clip here where Bill Maher stuns his live audience with this brutal takedown of this woke Democrat senator. Adam Schiff here live on Real Time with Bill Maher.
All right, here we are with the Democratic senator from California, Adam Schiff, and the New York Times opinion columnist, Bret Stephens. Okay, here are the questions from the people. Senator Schiff, given the ongoing political tensions and Trump's actions toward his critics, do you think President Biden's preemptive pardons turned out to be more important than initially expected? Let's first tell people what that means, preemptive pardons. That was pretty unprecedented, right? Before he left office, Joe Biden pardoned you and a number of people who he thought Trump would go after.
No, I take the opposite view. I don't think he should have given the pardons at all.
Really?
No, I don't think he should have, and I was vocal about that at the time.
Can you refuse a pardon?
That's less clear because in the case of the January 6th committee, he pardoned essentially the whole committee.
I see.
But I didn't like it both because we were enormously proud of our work on the January 6th committee, but more than that, establishing a precedent that on the way out the door, you're going to pardon any number of people, gave him even greater latitude on his way out of the door to pardon everyone around him. Chief Justice Roberts, in that immunity decision, I think, which will go down in infamy, already gave this president permission to be lawless. But the abuse of the pardon power essentially gives him an opportunity to tell everyone around him, then when I'm on the way out the door, I've got your back. And so I think part of why you see such willingness among the people around him to engage in lawless action is they're confident they'll get a pardon on the way out the door.
What did you read about the judge today that was arrested by? I mean, it's such a new story. I didn't want to bring it up during the show because I don't know enough about it. But there was a judge in Milwaukee. I guess it was a hearing for an illegal immigrant, definitely an illegal immigrant, and the ICE people came in to arrest this person, and apparently the judge spirited the person out the back door. That's what I read. Don't know if it's true because I don't trust anybody until I do a full vetting of it. But if this is...
You know what's crazy, though? They're kind of brushing over this fact, but it's pretty wild that the pardons they were so bad and so obviously an admission of guilt for all those people who he pardoned, because why the hell else would you pardon these people unless they're guilty of something? Like a preemptive, just preemptively pardoning someone implies that they're guilty, of course. And it's crazy how bad it is that he did that. It's so bad that even people like Adam Schiff are against it and speak out against it. That's how you know that that was not a mistake, because he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. And also, Joe Biden was definitely not the mastermind behind that. But the pardons accomplished what they wanted them to accomplish. It pardoned people who are guilty of crimes. But so mistake is not the right word. But unconstitutional, anti-freedom, anti-the American citizen, all those things are true.
And so the FBI came in and arrested the judge. Now, I haven't heard that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I've ever read arrested a judge. So is this significant?
Well, I think
I'm not going to comment on something I don't know more about than what you've just told me.
You read about it too.
Yeah, I mean, I read about it, but I don't know.
So you don't trust anything either, and you work for the New York Times.
Well, when the New York Times does its full reporting, I will trust that.
Okay, all right. If film and TV productions continue to move out of California due to tax incentives in other states, what might the future look for Los Angeles? Is there a risk of it becoming the next Detroit? Well, there's no need to shit on Detroit in the question. Detroit's a fine city. I mean, Detroit.
well,
I mean, the central...
Yeah, whoever wrote that question really did have it out for Detroit, huh? But for good reason. I mean, go look at Detroit. I'm never going there, so I won't say go to Detroit. I don't recommend that you go there either. Go look at pictures, though, man. Everything's all run down. At least from the pictures I've seen, I'm sure there's nice pockets. Every city, you can go find a nice pocket. But for the most part, Detroit is run down and really bad.
Part of that question is that California, I'm sorry to say this, a beautiful state, has become Exhibit A in progressive misgovernance. And if you're going to tax industries straight out of the country, if you're going to continue to lose, 100,000, 200,000 people every year who have to leave here because it's unaffordable, because housing is unaffordable, you're going to create an example of what Americans don't want from the left. So Democrats, and my colleague Ezra Klein is doing this, are taking a good hard look at California and saying, we're not that. We need to be a party that's from some other model.
Well, I don't disagree that we've got to do a lot to improve governance in California, but I don't agree with the diagnosis of why the film industry is leaving. They're leaving because they're getting richer incentives in other states and in other countries. And we haven't kept pace with that. So if you want to film in the United Kingdom, you're going to get a tremendous tax break, and our motion picture industry has left the country. If you want to film in New York or Georgia, there are generous tax incentives. If we want to keep the industry here, we're going to have to compete with tax incentives. California has started to do that. But on a federal level, I think the United States is also going to have to offer incentives to keep this industry here and to compete around the world. It didn't used to be necessary, but they're successfully wooing away this prize economic and cultural driver of the United States. So I have a deep personal interest, both because I represent this area for a long time in the House, and I love this industry. I love going out to the movies. I love watching great TV like your program. But I think it's more that we're being outbid.
But why should it just be for Hollywood? It should be for normal people. It should be for any kind of entrepreneur, not just celebrities whose pictures and whose faces you know. I mean, that's the problem. It shouldn't just simply be a favored industry. Oh, we can't lose our movie stars. Every year, California loses people because they are being driven away by a high-tax, high-regulation state where public services don't reach the standards that they...
That's 100% facts, man. And who do you think the people are that are moving away from California, moving away from these woke cities that do charge you crazy amounts in taxes? It's never going to be low-quality people who don't earn a lot, right? It's going to be the people who have the means to move somewhere else. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of high earners, good quality people. So whenever you drive out all the quality people that have the ability to leave, what are you left with? All really bad people. I'll just put it that way, as nice as I possibly can. Really bad people take up the city, take over the city or the state. And people are fleeing California like crazy. And who do you think it is? It's people like Joe Rogan, people like that might not be ultra right wingers who are like, I'm tired of this woke stuff. But it's just like common sense. If I make a lot of money and I get taxed a lot more money than other places, and also in the place that I'm paying a whole lot more taxes than these other places isn't even as nice as these other places. It's not even as enjoyable to live in as these other places. Why the hell would I stay there? Of course I'm going to leave. It's common sense. And the people who are still there, they want to leave too, but they don't have the means to do it. They can't leave. So how quality of a person do you think that is? It's not going to be very high quality.
That they should. That should be a signal that we shouldn't have one favored industry or another. We should have a favored state. California should be competitive.
Well,
a great argument for old school republicanism, by the way.
And I certainly concur. We need to be competing for business with the rest of the country, and we need to not be complacent about whether people are going to locate here because of a business climate. We certainly can't expect that. But I think what's driving, and the question was about the film industry, which is why I made my answer about the film industry. But I think a lot of what is driving people out of California is the cost of living is too high.
yeah.
And most particularly, the cost of housing is too high. People can't afford to live here, which is why I think in so many central ways, housing is really key. More housing is key to the affordability problem in California. More housing is key to the homeless problem in California. But you're absolutely right, creating a more welcoming business environment, a more regulatory friendly environment, making sure that the ethos is how do we help you get this done, not how do we put more obstacles in the way. I haven't forgotten about your roof. All of that is important to keeping.
And my pot store.
And right?
And the pot store, the Woods that I own with Woody Harrelson. It's just the biggest problem we had was the government of California.
I imagine your producers are saying, "Oh God, I can't believe Schiff brought up his roof."
Yeah, I mean, we love it here. We want to live here. This, I mean, you know.
Yeah, I feel like that's how a lot of people feel. What Bill Maher is describing, like they grew up there or they lived there for a long time and they really like living there, but it just doesn't make sense to do it. It just doesn't make sense. It's common sense for anyone who has the ability to leave to get out of there. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about Bill Maher explaining to this woke senator here. I think he's a senator. I'm pretty sure he's a senator. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think about Bill Maher telling this guy why California is so bad. And also the other guy on the panel, Brett Stevens, explaining to Adam Schiff why California is so bad. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this whole Bill Maher versus Adam Schiff situation.